Hi everybody, this is Kirsten McGoey from Trinity Design in Whitby, Ontario, and our sixth lesson is going to be using this image to introduce you very quickly to some of the options in Photoshop that will allow you to auto enhance your photo and also adjust your photo. So things we did in Camera Raw are also obviously in Photoshop and are in different places. So the first thing I'm going to show you, this is just a portrait of a banker that I've taken, and you can go to image and then select auto tone, and it's going to give it a bit of a warmer tone. So we're just going to erase that. We're going to go back to the next option, which is auto contrast. You click that, it's just going to give you a little extra contrast on the edges of this portrait. Now we shot this in the natural light of my front window, which he quite liked the look of. I did that for his wife as well. And this gives him, again, in using the auto color option, a very warm look to it. Now that is not exactly what I want for this portrait. So how do I get more control? So this is like being in manual on your camera. Where you can see I'm just peeking over to the mode, and we are in red, green, and blue, which is the colors for on-screen images. If we needed to convert this image, we would change it to cyan, magenta, and key, which is key, the black color. But right now we're good to go. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to make sure that a few things have changed. So first tool that I'm going to look at is the adjustment tool for brightness and contrast, and that's exactly what you think. Contrast is going to be darkened if you go this way and lightened if you go this way. So I'm going to lighten it just a bit, and then we're going to make this portrait just a little brighter so we have a little bit more vibrance on his skin, and I'm pretty happy with that, so we're going to leave that. We're going to look at the next tool, which is levels. You can change the levels using the different presets here. There's different channels. You can adjust the levels only on one of those channels. And you can also make changes by literally dragging these little sliders. But we're just going to let you explore that and move on to the next tool. And that is curves. Now curves is when you actually use the whole channel and you can pull, you can see the histogram there, you can pull from this curve and that curve to lighten, brighten, change your images. So I'm actually going to undo all of that. So, and leave things as is. But you can play around if that's how you feel comfortable. If you know how you want to make changes, that's fantastic. Exposure is actually an area where I pop in a lot. Sometimes if my exposure is a little off, I might bring it up a little bit. Like for example, if I had shot this and it was way too dark, I could bring it up and I could save that image by bringing up the exposure. We'll leave it right about there. One thing that is really popular right now, and I just wanted to introduce you to, is that sort of faded look. It's been really popular the last 5 years or so. So this is going to be really probably the look of the 2010s, but I like that faded look, and I'll go in and I'll put in 0.0150, and that should give me a pretty nice faded look on that image. If you don't like that look, that's fine, but I just wanted you to know how to achieve it if you wanted to, and that's by finding it under exposure. As you can see here, we've got a whole other whack of tools that we can also use. These are very similar to Camera Raw. We've got our vibrance. We'll just pull that up. You can play around with that in your saturation. We've got hue and saturation, so you can get right in there. You can play around with the presets. You can move those different bars and get different effects. Again, we're just doing a quick overview to give you a sense of what you can play with here. Your color balance will allow you to deal with color casting, but what's really nice here is you can actually do it just in the shadows, just in the midtones of your photo, and in the highlights. And this is the one that I absolutely love. This is your one-click road to black and white photography. And what this will do then is also allow you to make some adjustments, because when you're in black and white, for example, if there was a little too much red in his skin, I can bring that out right there, and then I'm good to go. So let's just move that back because we're going to stick in color. I'm going to go back to, you can play with photo filters. These will actually overlay a whole warming color onto the photo. We're just going to cancel that now that it's taken. And you can play around with that. There's a channel mixer where you can actually affect the red, blue, and green channels and make changes with the sliders. So you have to experiment. There are lots of opportunities to make changes, but you want to go through this little area here and play. There's a lot more adjustments that can be made, but we're just going to stop right here because color lookup is something that I'm not concerned about at this intro stage. And we'll get around in another lesson to going through the rest of these different tools. But for right now, and for the purposes of this portrait, I've got the adjustments I need to make. I'm going to go back, I'm going to take my masking lesson, and I'm going to change the background, and then this will be ready to go. So thank you for joining me. If you want to follow us, you can find us at trinitydesign.ca, and if you have questions and want to email me, you can do so at trinitydesignkm@gmail.com, and thank you for capturing the experience.